Hey everyone, welcome to another Visualping webinar. I'll just give it maybe a couple more minutes as folks trickle in. Looks like we have pretty good turnout today. Um, while we're waiting, feel free on the right-hand side. There's a chat, and a few of you already said hi. But yeah, it'd be great for all of you to say hi. Maybe say, where you're attending from. And also below that chat on the right-hand side, there's a question mark icon. Um, that's where you could put some questions in there. We're going to have a Q&A section near the end of this webinar. And if you do have questions that pop up that you'd like answered, please put it in that section and we can definitely try to answer it right there. And right below that, looks like there's a bar graph there. That's actually a poll. We have a couple questions there just to poll um, our users here. And if you could just take a minute to fill out that poll, that'd be great. We kind of want to understand, what you're trying to do with Visual Ping and just get a better understanding of our customer base. So I'll give it one more minute, but we're going to start really shortly. Nice. I see Syracuse, Charlottesville, Virginia. Wow, Spain and Poland. Great. This is awesome. Well, so good morning to the folks in North America on the west end, and thank you for joining us on the in the Eastern time zone during lunch, and good evening to the folks in Europe. Oh, this is great. All right. Well, let me get started now. So um, today's webinar, it's titled "Tips and Tricks to Track Your Web Page Changes." So I'm Bethel. I'm part of the customer success team. Um, and I'm going to run through a few things, and I just outlined it in these slides. So first, we're going to kind of take a deep dive into what is visual compare and what is text compare. It's important when you first start off to really understand the mechanics of that, and from there, that's really the first choice you make when you're monitoring a URL based on your needs. We're going to dive a little bit into excuse me, some what we call keywords, and that's somewhat of an extension of text compare. And then we're going to dive into some specific scenarios. So, popular one would be, hey, how do I X out a pop-up or a banner and block it? And in general, how do you do things to reduce false alerts? Like selecting a specific section or a subsection of the web page. How do you monitor just part of the web page and not the whole thing? And then we're going to get into some workflows that I've been seeing that are fairly common among our business users. And lastly, we're going to have a couple minutes of time, and if you have questions in the Q&A section, I'm going to take a look at that and try to answer some of those questions there. So without further ado, I'm just going to get started here. So I'm just going to get out of these slides really quickly. I'm going to my demo page. So as a quick overview of our Visualping dashboard, on the left, you'll see that I have several workspaces set up. I have one specifically set up for this demo. If you don't see a left-hand sidebar, you are on the personal plan. So just a quick aside, on the business plan, there's additional features that you can get with a business plan that allows you to manage a higher volume of URLs or jobs, as we say, and Workspace is a way to organize and manage that, among other things like bulk editing and bulk loading and reporting. So on here is my list of jobs, and I'm just gonna start off with creating a new job. So I have one created here, and I'll show you later, but I wanted to start from scratch. So I think you guys all familiar. I click new job, I get this familiar screen, and I'm gonna paste my URL in, hit go, and while this loads in the embedded browser, we have all these options down here, and I'll go through this. So um, right now, we're using visual compare right down here. So this is our compare type. So I'm just going to take a pause and show you what we have. This is the web page I'm monitoring. So I have a bunch of text right here, right? And a lot of this text is taken from our web, so our help website. And down here are our logos and our images. So the first thing, I usually ask someone when they're asking, "Hey, should I monitor with visual or text compare?" Is what do you care about on this screen, right? I think if you care about, oh, I want to know when Visualping maybe updates their logo or their color scheme or things like that that are down here. Well, I think you should use visual. What Visualping, does with visual compare is take the web page and pixel by pixel, it compares it to the last time it did a snapshot. And when there's a difference, let's say the color change from blue to red, it will notify you of that change. Now, a lot of times for those with, I would say, use cases like they're looking at news or regulatory changes or for compliance and things like that, you guys, in that use case, if you fall into that, you're really looking at the words and the content here. Something like this, right? Did something in this article change? And this is where I think you should definitely use text compare, because at the end of the day, if the font changes here, but nothing in terms of the words and the characters change, I don't think you want to be notified of a change. Um, so going back to here, I would, in this case, if I'm looking at the words, use text compare. And of course, Visualping will reload it in text, and you can monitor the whole page as a text document. So if this logo does change from blue to red, I'm not saying it will, but it won't notify you for a text change. But if you put it on visual, it will notify you of a visual change. So hopefully that's clear. And I think the summary here is think about what you care about on the page, and then that will lead you to picking whether it's visual because you're looking at pictures and logos and formatting and things like that, or do you only care about the content, which is really just the visible text within the page. So I'm going to dive just a little bit deeper into text compare here. So one of the things we see is the threshold here, and that's any change 1% all the way to 50%. So if we go on text compare, I would almost always use start with any change. That is our default. Any change for text compare really means if there's a single character that changes within this text, please let me know. Text compare uses your character and the character count to figure out, what percentage change it has. So if you set it at 1%, you need to hit the threshold of 1% in order for it to notify you of a change, such as emailing it to you or sending it through Slack and other methods. So I would use any change. Now, for visual compare, the default's 1%. It's comparing pixel by pixel. Generally, that's a great place to start. And for most use cases, I'd recommend starting at 1% for visual change. The one exception is if you are using, have a use case of where you're monitoring, let's say you're monitoring similar web pages or website domains as what you currently have, and you have a list of them. A lot of them are probably, for sale from something like GoDaddy, and you're essentially tracking to see if those go live to protect your own branding and to make sure that these sites aren't piggybacking on a domain similar to you. I would use a visual change, but go into maybe the medium and major, mainly because when you're looking at like quote unquote squatter sites, you want um, you want to see the site go live from something that's up for lease or for sale, that domain. And when it changes, it's usually a major change. And you want to ignore the minor changes there are. So I would start a little bit bigger from that. But other than that, I think as a rule of thumb, start with tiny, and you can always adjust the threshold as you need. Starting bigger has a disadvantage if you started higher, with potentially missing an alert that you care about. Usually, when we're onboarding our business customers, we err on the side of getting more alerts and then fine tuning things from there so that you get the relevant alerts. So that's actually a good segue into, well, how do we get more relevant alerts? And one way through text compare is through through Visualping's keyword detection. So without keywords, if there's anything that's changed throughout this text, it will notify you. And so I ran this job once already, and I'll show you on the dashboard here if I cancel out really quick. And this will show you essentially that I added all this new text here in green, and in red it's what's removed. And you can filter these things out and hide, what's removed, and only show what's added, and vice versa. So it's pretty slick here. So, but with keywords, what if I only wanted the word Visualping to notify me when the word Visualping is added or removed. So what I can do in this job is add the compare type, the keyword Visualping right into here. And so I have the word Visualping, and you can add more. It's comma separated, so you can add a phrase. A popular one would be, if you're looking at inventory on an e-commerce site and you're looking at things like, tell me when something is sold out, you can put sold out here, or maybe it says not in stock, things like that. But a lot of our business customers who depend on the keyword changes have a very long list of comma separated keywords and phrases, and you add it in. And what Visualping does is that it uses it as a filter. So it won't just look for text to change, but it looks for only these keywords, in my case, to be added, or you could choose to be removed. So in any, in those use cases where you're really honing in on words, and you could be in, again, regulatory intelligence or compliance, you're looking for specific things to pop up, keywords is something you should explore using. And so what happens is Visualping will essentially show you the keywords highlighted in yellow that has been added in my case. So it's Visualping, and it's given me, hey, Visualping showed up here, and it highlights sort of the sentence around it, and everything else really it did not detect as a change because we were looking for those specific keywords, and the keyword was Visualping. So that's keywords, and something definitely to look into. As an aside, we have articles within our help center on the right-hand side, and you could quickly look for that specific article, and it will tell you. It'll tell you how you can monitor specific keywords right here. So again, on the right-hand side at the bottom right-hand corner, we have a beautiful help center that has many articles that has many specific topics that you could look up. So let's move on. So let's say in here, I'm going to go back to this example. We're looking at, how can I monitor a subset of this web page? And like many web pages, this page has a header, sort of has this footer, right? But I'm really only interested in the middle because headers sometimes have things that change, like banners or scrolling images, and it's producing some false alerts. Well, I'm going to stick with text compare, but what we can do here, if I go back to this example, is instead of monitoring the whole page, under adjustments, under screen, the header screen, right now it's set to all page, but you can actually set it to area, and this is really useful. When I select area, what it allows me to do is, I'll let this page reload here, but it allows me to hover my mouse over here, and it's selecting all these little boxes, right? You can select a phrase, and these boxes are essentially the building blocks for web pages. And once I hover over the right section, this is what I want. I left click here. And what this tells Visualping is, hey, let's monitor whatever is in that red box, right? But let's ignore the bottom part, right? And the top part, header and footer. And now Visualping is monitoring a subsection of this web page. So if there's a change in this title, this header, it's not going to let you know. It's not going to notify you. It's really just focused in on this section. So really important tip for folks that are looking at news articles and things like that. Usually you have a sidebar or a header with a menu and things changing. You can select the area and get focused in on exactly what you want to monitor within that web page. So that's monitoring that specific and relevant area for you. I'm going to move on to my next example. I'm just going to save this, and we're gonna look at this job here. So I'm just going to click on my Netflix job. So going to here, this is more of a visual change, but sometimes you're going to get pop-ups and banners appear on your web page, or you want to monitor the whole thing, but you want to block this one part out here. Visualping has tools that allows you to do that. So under here, there are things that are called perform actions. So I'll start from scratch here. Sorry about that, because I want to illustrate a couple things. So under perform actions, you're going to get a whole suite of these actions. I won't go through all of them, but I'm gonna cherry pick a few of the most popular actions we have. So I'll start with the click action. So under click here, essentially what actions do is it helps mimic sometimes what a user can do when you're interacting with the browser. In this case, there's a pop-up that says, it's a cookie pop-up. Now this one's at the top. There are other sites where the cookie pop-up's in the middle, things like that. There's basically two approaches. The first approach I would use is use a click action. And sometimes you can click and you click on accept all, and then that gets rid of that, hey, please accept these cookies. And then the site will load without that in the foreground. In this case, there's an X, something like that. So all you do is select the click, and I'm going to click on this mouse pointer. And again, sort of like the red box, we see blue boxes. And when you hover over it, it's going to select different boxes. In my case, I'm going to click on this X here. And this X, when I click on it, you'll see, a bunch of stuff pre-populate, but essentially we're telling Visualping, hey, click on this X with my intention to close that browser box and get rid of that pop-up. Oh, did I click on the wrong thing? I think I did. Sorry about that. Okay. So while that's going, the second thing I want to do is I want to block a section here. And again, blocking, so now it's gone here. Blocking essentially allows you, say, to monitor the whole page, but block something specific. So again, I'll go add an action. This time, my action instead of click is block. And I will, again, click on this mouse pointer, and it will select these subsections in the blue box for me. And for the block action, when I select this box, it's telling Visualping block whatever's inside of the blue box. So when I click on it, again, it's going to load, and it should, if I go back here, block this section, and it will show you the rest of what Netflix has. All right. So again, it collapsed, and now you have everything kind of shift up. So really handy tools. So if you monitor everything and you just want to block a banner or a sidebar, this is the way to go, and you can use a block action. One more action I wanted to point out that I think is really useful and popular, and it's actually two little things. So sometimes web pages take a little longer to load, whether it's just a slower web page or there's just a lot of users on it and it's just running slow. In that case, Visualping has the flexibility for you to wait a little longer before it takes a snapshot. So if you're seeing things like you get notifications where your web page sometimes is blank and then it appears, or it's half loaded and appears sometimes, it means that the web page at some point was slower to load. And to alleviate that, to prevent these alerts from happening, 99% of the time when you increase the wait time from, let's say, the default 2 seconds to 7, it allows you more time to load, so that the web page fully loads. So it's comparing the full web page to the full web page. So the wait time down here under adjustments is where you go. In addition, you can add more wait time right here under perform actions. The difference is this wait time runs first before the actions, and this you can order, put it at the top or in the middle or at the bottom, things like that, and you can type in how many seconds you want to wait. So this is the additional wait time. This is useful actually when, let's say, you're doing something like searching for a list and this takes a while to load. Once you click on search, perhaps you want to add 10 seconds of wait time for this large list to load and for all the data to load before you do the comparison. So that is wait time. That probably these three things are probably our most popular actions to use. So I want to now switch gears to look at a couple more actions, and I'm going to switch the web page here. So let me just cancel out of here, and we're going to look at this IMDb site. So it's a search site here. Now, when I go here, and I'm just going to load my action here. Sorry about that. I'll let this load first, but under here you can search for the movie titles here, right? So if I go to search here and I search for robots, right, really quick, I get a list of titles and the movies here, right? And I did a search for robots. And with a search list, what I'm trying to illustrate is it actually produces a URL up here. And I know it's kind of small on this browser when you do a search. So again, when I go to the home page, it's a different URL. But when I search for robots, it gives me this full URL. And so whenever you're doing a search page, this is what I would do first. I would go on my browser, do the search, see if the URL actually changes, because it's actually quite a lot easier to monitor the URL here directly with Visualping here. So when I go here, now I can monitor this URL directly and not have to do a type and click and things like that to search for the web page. So as a rule of thumb, if you can, whatever you're trying to monitor, and the search page is just an illustration or one example of that, you want to at least explore the route of doing all the things here and grabbing that last URL of what you want to monitor. However, there are cases where you just simply can't do that, right? So in that case, we have another action for that. So I'm going to take, let's see here, cancel out of this. I'm going to take this example here. I pre-done it, but just to show you the end result, but we can walk through it. Essentially, our new action, we already went through click, right? And we also went through block and wait. The other one is type. So typing is essentially selecting a field where you could, like a user, type in your search into. So in our case, if I go to Wikipedia here, I'm trying to type into the search bar. Okay, so apologies here. So I'm just gonna put in my type action, and I'll let this load here. But it's the same workflow. I want to type in the text into the bar. So divide and right, and then I'm going to select this. Oops. Again, the mouse clicker, and I can select exactly this field for the search, and it should load, excuse me, the list from Wikipedia. So I'm mimicking this. Okay. That should show up. Sorry about that. I think I just unsynced the. Sorry, this thing was out of sync. So yeah, that should pop up. And my next action really is a click. And again, I click on this mouse pointer. Oh, there we go. And I can click here, or I can click search, whatever you want to do. Maybe I'll just click search. And I'm mimicking the user typing Joe Biden and clicking on search here, right? Boom, that page should load. And so in this example, if you do need to interact with a search to pull down a list or load something, use the type action with a click on for the button. And again, it's like interacting with the browser here. And essentially, you'll save it on Visualping. And for this job, every time this job runs, it's going to go through that search and then the click, and then monitor that specific page for you. So that's one of the workflows for a search. So the last thing I wanted to just throw out here as some of an advanced workflow is I've been getting questions of, when we're monitoring, I'll save this, when we're monitoring a specific area, how do I do it for multiple areas, right? So in this example, I search for robot for IMDb, and it comes with a list of these movie and descriptions here. So in this case, I want to monitor the first two results and the text around it. How do I do multiple ones? And the answer is actually really simple. You want to create two separate jobs to monitor the two movie titles. So I created two right here. The reason being is if I load this one really quickly, I'm essentially I created this job and I monitored under adjustments the area for iRobot right here. And I selected that area right here, right? Perfect. So I'm going to discard this. And I did the same thing for Real Steel. It's monitoring this area and I selected that area. So 2 jobs, same URL. You can use the same URL, right? And you're monitoring 2 different things. And the beauty of this is, if I go back to iRobot, I can name it with a job name, give it the specific name. I'm monitoring the IMDb iRobot. Same thing with, I show you Real Steel, same thing. I put in the movie title, and now when I get the alerts, I'm getting this job description knowing that iRobot specifically changed or Real Steel specifically changed. And on top of that, you can use labels here. As you can see, I have a label here. This is a Visualping for Business feature. Labels help you organize your jobs here, and it's really simple to apply a label. I'll go here and I'll multi-select. Again, multi-select is available on business plans. You can select multiple jobs and edit the job settings, like the frequency and the actions and things like that en masse instead of one by one. But in this case, we're going to play with the labels. I'll turn off this label. But essentially what I did was I said, oh, these are my IMDb jobs for robot searches. I create the label. I added the label. Now the labels are here. Why are labels important? In a long list of jobs, you can easily filter for these labels right here. And now I have these 2 jobs and I'm focused in on it. And so definitely with labels, I find for myself, it's easier to manage all my jobs and search and filter for them. So this is a good way to organize your jobs and monitor multiple things on a single URL. That said, for one thing too is, if I dive a little bit deeper, is that you can do the same thing for keywords. So you can create a job, look at the whole page and use, I want these things added for this URL. Use the same URL and have a different list of what you want for remove for keywords. So in terms of that concept, think about how you could create multiple jobs for the same URL and get very, very specific notifications. So that's a really kind of a deeper dive into how you could use Visualping to get more specific alerts. So that kind of brings us to the end of the tips and tricks. I just want to say there's so much more that we could go through. If you are new to Visualping, again, a quick plug for our help page. You can find it at the bottom right-hand corner. If I go back to here, one of the best articles is right up top, Getting Started. If you want to take a deeper dive into what I talked about, Getting Started will cover things like what is text versus visual. It'll go through the full suite of actions you can do, like click, block, wait, and etc. And there's a lot of articles you can look at, setting up schedules or things like that, how to integrate Slack or Teams or webhooks and things like that. They're all in this right here on our help center. So it's right at the bottom right-hand corner, or you could simply go to help.visualping.io. And this will load our help center on a separate web page, and you can go through all these articles. So I'm just going to switch back to my quick presentation here. I just wanted to point out, oops, sorry about that. Slideshow, sorry. So just wanted to point out just a couple things I went through. Again, if you're on a personal plan, a free plan, here's a few more things about just what the business platform could offer you. And I think we do have some time for Q&A, so I'll jump over the Q&A section section. I do really thank you guys uh, for your time and listening to the tips and tricks um, demo here. One thing I wanted to point out is there's a green contact us button at the bottom here. If you do, want to see, let's say, Visual Ping for Business and get a demo of that, please click on that contact us, and one of us will reach out to you to set up some time. You have questions about anything related to Visual Ping, click on contact us, and we'll definitely reach out to you and let's connect. So let's go through the first section. All right. So we have a question. Sometimes the website I follow uses pop-ups, which sometimes interfere with the ability to detect changes. Is there a way to fix this? Yes. So with pop-ups, I'll go back to Visual Ping here. With pop-ups, just like what we talked about with Netflix, it popped up at the top here. If you go here, mine popped up at the top for Netflix. Sometimes it's in the middle. Usually there is an X or an accept all or something at the top. My first point of attack would be to go in and click that off like I've done right here, to click the X. That will get rid of that pop-up. Sometimes that might not work, and what you will need to do is block that pop-up. So it's the same idea where I can go to block and select this whole box and try to block it that way. So that's how you deal with these pop-ups. If you do have a page that these two things don't really work, so yeah, it's gone right here. Please let us know. You can write to support@visualping.io, and we can have our support team take a look at a specific URL and suggest a way to block and get rid of those pop-ups. All right. Next question. One of the pages that you monitor has started using a CAPTCHA login. Is there a way to monitor a page like that? Yeah, that's a really great question. CAPTCHA, just to explain, it's something where it's a way to detect essentially bots and prevent bots from looking at the page and overloading the site with whatever that bot is doing. For visual ping, sometimes it does get detected as a bot and it'll pop up that CAPTCHA. So one of the things, I don't really have a great example here, but I'll go through the settings because this is quite involved and in-depth. One of the things is to look at the proxies. So what I would do is, by default, the proxy is set to none. I would, oops, sorry, didn't want to click on it actually. Here. Sorry about that. I would select, try a different proxy that's available. That's what I would do first. Your situation in this case, the situation is very unique to the web page and the site and how it does CAPTCHA. So I would try with a basic proxy first, and then let's say the site has CAPTCHA, but that's a UK site. Maybe I would try UK or something like that and change that location and see if that bypasses the CAPTCHA. If that doesn't work, we do have a lot of more advanced options through what we call residential proxies. These are proxies that we provide customer to customer. We go through a third-party proxy service, and without going too deep into it, it uses a wide variety of different IP addresses so that it essentially you won't get detected as a bot, and that could get you past that CAPTCHA login. If that is of interest to you, please reach out to us. Probably the best way is through that contact us button, or if you already have a business account with us, reach out to us at support at visualping.io, and we can talk to you a bit more about how these residential proxies work and what the cost is. All right. Right, and I think that's all in the Q&A. Once again, I wanna just, thank you guys for attending. I think we're almost out of time here. Um, Hopefully, these tips and tricks, will be useful to you, and, as a summary, visual versus text, that's the first thing you wanna ask yourself when you're setting up a job. You know, "What am I looking at? What do I care about?" And so from there, you can pick from visual and text. You can select a specific area. You can click away pop-ups and block banners and things like that. Um, but if you are ever stuck and you need help, again, please reach out to us. Um, there's help articles right here. And there's also a messaging app right here under messages, or you can send us a message. Someone on our support team will be more than happy to help you out with your additional questions. Thank you for those attending all over the world. It's been a pleasure just speaking with all of you, and I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. And if you do want to schedule a demo with us or want to understand more about Visualping for Business, please click on the Contact Us button. Thank you once again. And yeah, have a great day, everyone. Take care.